तमाम साथियों को या अली मदद.
Mola Ali Madad, sir.
Mola Ali Madad, sir. Can you have the
Mola
meaning
Ali
of this tasbih, sir?
Yeah.
जी. या हय्यू या कय्यूम. Before we see the meaning of it, these two words, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, are the highest Isme Azam in the Quran. And you will find this initially in Ayah Kursi, which is Surah number 2, Ayat number 255. Then you will find same one in Surah Al Imran, that is Surah 3, Ayat number 2. And then you will find it in Surah Taha, which is Surah number 20, Ayat number 111, in 3 places. And in Quran, if you look, it will show you Al-Hayyul Qayyum together as one. Al-Hayyul Qayyum. As a tasbih, we say Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, meaning, O the ever living, O who is always alive. Hay means alive. Qayyum means ever alive. Those are the words or the Isme Azam of the Imam in the Quran. Al-Hayyul Qayyum, the one who is always living. Ya Zal Jalale wal Ikram. Zal Jalal, the most powerful. In the Urdu or in our language, जलाल का मतलब होता है बहुत ही गालिब आने वाला, बहुत ही पावरफुल या बहुत ही जबरदस्त. वलेकराम, और उसके जो रहमत है उसके अंदर भी वो बहुत ही आला है. आपने सुना होगा, I'm sure most of you have heard this, Kareem, Al-Kareem, Akram, Al-Akram is called superlative term. इसको इसमें मुबालगा कहते हैं उर्दू में, यानी कि किसी चीज को बड़ा चढ़ा करके ना. तो करीम, अल करीम, अकरम, अल अकरम, यानी कि बहुत बहुत ज्यादा रहमत करने वाला, करम करने वाला. तो ये तस्वीर जो है, जब हम तस्वीर के तौर पे पढ़ते हैं तो ये या हय्यू या कय्यूम होता है. आपने इस नाचीज को इस लाइन पर सुना होगा. एट द बिगिनिंग आई वुड से या हय्यू या कय्यूम और अल हय्युल कय्यूम अली अल्लाह. Why would I say Ya Al-Hayyul Qayyum Ali Allah? Because in Ayah Kursi, it says, who is Allah? I know the entire world is looking for Allah, and no one can find it. But if you look at Ayah Kursi, and if you read it with a belief, with a iman, it will tell you who Allah is. That is the most amazing part about this. Allahu la ilaha. Allah says, I'm no one. Allahu la ilaha. I am no one. Huwal, but. Al-Hayyul Qayyum, the one who is living and ever living. And then this ayat ends in Huwal Aliyul Azim, and I am Ali the Great. You see, this is the most beautiful. Mullah Ali says in one of his kalam that once I heard Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam recited this ayah Kursi to us. After that, meaning after the revelation of this ayat, I never slept without reciting ayah Kursi. That's how, ayah Kursi is the king of the ayat. Those of you who read Quran or who has knowledge of Quran, little bit information about it, you will know that there are many ayat, like 6,666, and ayah Kursi is the king of those 6,666 ayat. Why is it a king of this ayat? It is because it has the secret, the revelation of Allah, and which shows who Allah is in this ayat. Because this ayat will tell you, before you start reading the Quran, and before you start reading Allah and Rabb and Khuda and Parvardigar and all those words for Allah, don't you want to know who Allah is? And this ayat tells who Allah is before you read the Quran. So very, very important. So I hope those friends who like to write the references, write down these 3 references of Al-Hayyul Qayyum in the Quran. Go into the Quran, read them, make a friend with ayah Kursi, read ayah Kursi, teach your children ayah Kursi, and this will be a good for our iman, for our inshallah iman. So let's start on our regular session. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for
sir.
this,
Appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you for this beautiful tasbih. May Ali Allah accept all your khidmats. Let's start with the name of Nur Maulana Shah Karimul Hussaini Hazir Imam. Ya Maulai Mehrban, Madad Farma. Al-Hayyul Qayyum, Ali Allah, Madad Farma. Tawfiq, Tahid, Himmat wa Yari Maula. We were on Farman number 24, and this was on the page number 28 in Kalam Imam Mubin. And we had our last paragraph left in this Farman. And the next Farman, number 25, is almost continued of this Farman, which Mullah Bapa made the very next day. Looks like there were multiple days Didar. So one night, Mullah Bapa said the above Farman, and the next morning Didar, Mullah Bapa continued with this Farman. तो आप देखेंगे कि किस तरह से ये दोनों फरामीन एक दूसरे से लिंक है. मुल्ला says, जमात सब भाइयों का अच्छा देखे, बुरा ना समझे, अगर समझेगी तो अपना ही बुरा होगा. This one line, the lesson. Remember, we have read this फरमान before. ये फरमान वो नहीं है कि जो हमने पहले नहीं पढ़े हैं, लेकिन जिस नजरों से आज हम उसको पढ़ रहे हैं, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्योंकि ये ऐसी लाइनें होती है फरमान के अंदर कि जो हम बाआसानी पढ़कर मौला के फरमान के अल्फाज के मुताबिक एक कान से सुन के दूसरे कान से निकाल देते हैं और तकरीबन उसको इग्नोर कर देते हैं. So this line is not a new for us. We have read this Farman before, or this line of Farman before. जमात सब भाइयों का अच्छा देखे. You must think well for your other Jamaati members. Have you not heard this Farman before? Yes, definitely. Do not think bad about them. We heard this line before too. बुरा ना सोचे. If you do, if you think bad about them, actually you are thinking bad about yourself. Now this is what we are learning today. So the principle is, कलीद क्या है, सीखने का क्या है कि दूसरों का अच्छा सोचा तो ऐसा है जैसा अपना अच्छा सोचा, और दूसरों का बुरा सोचा तो ऐसा है जैसा अपना बुरा सोचा. How can that be? That if you think well of others, then it is just like you thought well for yourself. If you think bad for others, it is just like you thought bad for yourself. How? किस तरह से ये हुआ? सबसे पहले let's do a self check. Remember, until we do the self check, this Farman will not apply to us, to me, and to you. And when it doesn't apply to you and me, the problem is we ignore it. That is the human nature, that when we talk good, we always think of ourselves. When we think bad, we always think about others. But a moment, according to Imam's Farman, what does he do? He does the self-checking. मौला फरमाते हैं, रोजाना अपने नफ्स पर हाथ रखकर अपने आप को पूछो कि आज मैंने क्या अच्छा किया, क्या बुरा किया. The key is to apply the Farman to yourself, and then you will be able to benefit from it. So let's do self-checking first. Am I right in saying that there is no one on this line, including myself, who does not think bad for some, not for all, but for some? जमात खाने में जरूर कोई ऐसा शख्स होगा जिसके बारे में हम अच्छा नहीं सोचते होंगे. क्या मैं ये बात सही कह रहा हूं? अगर ये बात दुरुस्त है, if I'm right in saying that I'm sure each one of us, including myself, have someone in our Jamaat Khana, whichever Jamaat Khana we go to, we do not think of them good. We think of them as bad. And Mullah Baba said, if you think of them as a bad, then you think of yourself as a bad. How is that possible? क्यों? सबसे पहले इस बात को याद रखें कि हम सब नफ्सुन वाहिदा से पैदा हुए हैं. All of us are connected in nafsun waida, the single soul of the Imam Zaman. Second, we are all Imam's children, and therefore we are all brother and sister. So when you say that so and so is bad, actually you're talking about yourself, because we are one single soul. And we had established this last week in few lines above, where we were talking about initially become one. How do you become one? Think of everyone as your own soul, because we are born with one single soul of the Imam. That is our core. To understand this concept, I know it is really hard to understand, but understand, Imam is the original and we are all copies of that original. So where is our origin? Within the Imam. One single soul. And when we think about others in good manner, well, we are thinking about ourselves in good manner and well. When we are thinking about others in a bad, then actually you are thinking bad for yourself. You know, in a Bible it says that whatever is good for you is good for your neighbor. Whatever is good for others is good for you. That's a beautiful saying, right? कि जो आपके लिए अच्छा है वो तमाम के लिए अच्छा है, और जो दूसरों के लिए बुरा है वो आपके लिए भी बुरा है. So always be mindful of this, regardless of what they are doing. Remember, it is not your business. You know, I say these things on this line sometime, and it comes out really funny. Panji kar to sanji si hai. Mind your own business in English, right? Panji kar to sanji si hai. हमारी रूह के अच्छे के लिए हमें जरूरी है कि पहले हम तमाम का अच्छा सोचें, ताकि हमारा दिल पाक हो जाए. That is the benefit of thinking well and good for others. When you do that, when you are mindful of that, and you constantly think well for others, you know what will happen? Your heart will become pure. So who benefited from it? When you think good for others? You. And your heart will become pure. And what happens when your heart will become pure? That is the place for the Imam's didar. ये इमाम के दीदार की जगह है. और if you think bad for others, जब हम दूसरे के लिए बुरा सोचते हैं तो क्या मसला होता है कि हमारे दिल में गंदगी आ जाती है. और उसका क्या नुकसान होता है? क्योंकि हमारा दिल इमाम के बैठने की जगह है, आपने उसको गंदा कर दिया तो इमाम वहां से उठकर चले जाता है. आप अपने दिल को पाक रखेंगे, दूसरों के लिए अच्छा सोचेंगे, आपका दिल पाक होता जाएगा. इमाम आकर आपके दिल में बैठेगा. फायदा किसका हुआ? आपका. आप दूसरों के लिए बुरा सोचेंगे, दिल में गंदगी पैदा होगी, और जब दिल में गंदगी होगी तो उस जगह पर इमाम आके नहीं बैठेगा, इमाम आपके दिल से उठकर चला जाएगा. किसका नुकसान हुआ? आपका नुकसान हुआ. आपने देखा कि ये लाइन ऐसी नहीं थी जो हमने पहले नहीं सुनी है, लेकिन आज इंशाअल्लाह जब आज इस लाइन को हम समझ गए हैं, since today we understood this line very well, now we will be mindful and we will practice. Regardless of what others are doing, you do not think bad of others. There is a skill, there's a mindset that you can adopt, you can learn, you can practice. You know, when Imam said, each line of my Farman has so much meaning, wisdom in it. I believe Imam is talking about this kind of lines in the Faramin, कि जिसके अंदर इतना ज़्यादा मटीरियल होता है कि you can talk for long period of time on one single line, and this is not even whole line, that's a half of a line. तो शायद जब मौला फरमाते कि मेरी एक एक लाइन में इतना इल्म और इतनी हिकमत है, तो ऐसी लाइनों की तरफ इशारा करते होंगे मौला हमको कि जो आधी लाइन के अंदर हम इस तरह इतनी ज्यादा बात कर सकते हैं इंशाल्लाह. लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. तुम खुदा के पास दुआ मांगते हो तो साथ में भाइयों के लिए भी दुआ मांगो. अब ये बात जो है in I believe it was 1993 and 1996 in London, Mullah says in Farman, it does not matter what you do for yourself. It only matters what you do for others. Now think of that line and think of this line. यहाँ पर मौला फरमाता है कि जब आप अपने लिए दुआ मांगो तो अपने भाइयों के लिए भी दुआ मांगो. भाइयों के हक में दुआ मांगने में फायदा है. ओके, emphasize this कि दूसरों के लिए दुआ मांगने में फायदा है. In current Jama, Mullah says, it doesn't matter what you do for yourself. It only matters what you do for others. You know why? Because हम अपने लिए तो काम भी करते हैं, हम अपने लिए सब कुछ करते हैं, हमारी फैमिली के लिए भी सब कुछ करते हैं, हम अपने लिए दुआ भी पढ़ते हैं, हम अपने लिए सब कुछ करते हैं, क्योंकि हम अपने लिए तो सब कुछ करेंगे बोले और बोले बिगर भी. But Mullah said, it only matters what you do for others. So what is the teaching and learning here? Don't be selfish. खुद गरज ना बन जाओ. खुद गरजी क्या है? मारू मारू मारू. That's खुद गरजी. Me, I. That is selfishness. Always me. Again, look at these lines of Farman. How much this resonate with us? कौन सी ऐसी बात इस फरमान में जो हम पर लागू पड़ती है? So we can learn from it. Is not to criticize ourselves, is not to criticize, but it is there for us to learn. Whenever we find ourselves in me, I, जब भी हम अपने आप को मारू मारो आराम उठाओ जो है, मने तकलीफ ना थावी जो है, बधाने काई भी થાય, मने तकलीफ ना થાય, હું આરામથી છું, મારું પેટ ભરેલું છે. Whenever we are on this kind of thoughts, this kind of talk, we need to think of this Farman. Because as a smiley, as a good moment, as a good follower of the Imam, look at Imam himself. Are we not follower of the Imam? What does follower of the Imam means? That we're supposed to follow on the line on which Imam is walking. And what is Imam, which line Imam is walking? He's always working for others. He's working 24 hours for Jamaat. How many hours do we give for Jamaat? Follower. Look at the word. हम इमाम के पीछे पीछे चलने वाले हैं, तो फिर देखें कि इमाम क्या कर रहा है. इमाम क्या कर रहा है? इमाम जमात के लिए. In Imam's initial Farman, Imam says in 1957 that I have dedicated my entire life for the upliftment of the Jamaat as my grandfather has done. So this is not unique to Hazrat Imam, all the Imams. तो जब हम मौला के पीछे पीछे चलने वाले हैं और मौला फरमाते कि मैंने अपनी पूरी जिंदगी तुम्हारे लिए वक्फ कर दी है, तो हम क्यों इतना नहीं सोचते कि हम इमाम के पीछे पीछे चलें. इमाम जो कर रहा है वही तो हमको करना है, बिकॉज वी आर हिज फॉलोअर्स. उसकी लाइन पर चल रहा है ना. तो कहने का मतलब ये है, और यहाँ पर जो समझाने का मतलब ये था कि we need to let that I and me, maru maru, we need to let it go. You know, so we can, with an open heart, with an open mind, can help, genuinely can help others. We can do things for the others. We can feel, have a empathy for our brother and sisters. You know, ताकि हम दूसरों की तरफ देख सके, उसका दुख समझ सके और उनको फिर उसके अंदर हाथ बटा सके, उनकी मदद कर सके. अच्छा, किसी भाई के हक में खराब नहीं बोलना. खराब नहीं बोलना. No gossiping. And this line, I don't know how many Farmin again and again Mullah had given. No backbiting, no gossiping. किसी की गिला गिबत बुराई ना करें. I don't know कि क्या बात है कि इतने सालों से हम फरमान को पढ़ते आए हैं, but some reason as soon the gossiping starts, we forget. We love gossiping. We love backbiting. I don't know, instantly we forget. And I'm sure on this line there are really, really good mu'mineen here. And I truly believe that. But then again and again, you have seen and I have seen people backbiting, gossiping, and they are enjoying it too. They're loving it. And I'm not talking about other than Ismailis. I'm talking about within the families, within the friends, within the Jamaat. We need to be those who will carry this light of change. We want it to be beacon of the change. हमें वो मोमेंट बनना है कि जो कम से कम अपने दोस्तों के अंदर, अपनी फैमिली के अंदर से ये हैबिट को निकाले. If everyone does that, let's say we have 200 people on this line and each one has 20 people, 50 people in their friends and family, we can change thousands and thousands upon thousands of people. You can do that. I can do that by challenging them, reminding them with a love, with a humility that this is not good. Let's talk about something else. There is a lot of other things we can talk about. We do not have to involve ourselves in gossiping and backbiting. And Imam will be really happy with us if we could let go of this one very, very, very bad habit. And if you can do that, the pleasure of Imam would be with us. The blessing and Khanavadan of the Imam will be upon us. अगर हम ये एक बुरी आदत को निकाल दें ना, तो इंशाल्लाह इमाम की रजामंदी, इमाम के खानावदान, इमाम की रहमतें हम पर बहुत ज्यादा नाजिल होगी इंशाल्लाह ताला। अच्छा, गिनान बोलो, हमेशा मजलिस करो, पीर सदरुद्दीन ने फरमाया है, उस मुताबिक चलो। गिनान बोलो। I wanted to talk about this for a couple of minutes. When we listen to Ginan, again, remember self-reflection is a must. Oh, ये कितना अच्छा गिनान बोलती है, उसका राग कितना अच्छा है, उसका आवाज कितना अच्छा है. That is the normal comments we hear from the Jamaat. Am I right in saying this? Whenever we hear someone, I don't know who this brother was on the line earlier when Faisal read that ayat or that tasbih, he said, I want to know the meaning of it. He instantly said that, yeah, she recited it beautifully in a good pronunciation, in a good rhythm, in the good voice, but he did not say, oh, कितना अच्छा आवाज है आपका, कितना अच्छा आपका तरस सा बयान करने का. नहीं, क्या कहा उसने, उसकी मायने क्या है. Now let's reflect, self-reflection. How many times do we think about the meaning in the Ginan? I know all of us are thinking right now. All right, let me take another test, self-reflection. What was the Ginan recited in Jamaat Khana last night? Yesterday, when we went to Jamaat Khana, which Ginan was recited? If I was the betting person, I would say 99% of us would not remember. You know why we did not remember? Because there was no reflection there. There was no reflection there. When we listen to the Ginan, when we recite the Ginan, those of you who are blessed with a good voice and good rhythms, आप में से जो गिनान बोलने वाला है ना, अच्छा, आपको इमाम की तरफ से ये रहमत है कि उसने आपको एक ऐसी आवाज दी है, एक ऐसा तराना दिया है कि आप अच्छे अच्छे गिनान बोल सकते हैं. गिनान के साथ साथ आप उसकी माने को भी जाने. और जब जमात आपके पास आए, क्योंकि आई एम टेलिंग एवरीवन हियर, and people will come to you, say, you recited beautiful Ginan, what does it mean? And if you don't know the meaning, so responsibility is on you, the reciter of the Ginan. And the more responsibility is on the Jamaat to ask, to reflect. Do we see that? It works both ways. The reciter of the Ginan and the listener of the Ginan. दोनों की ये जिम्मेदारी है कि वो गिनान को ना सिर्फ पढ़े अच्छी आवाज और अच्छे तराने के साथ, बल्कि उसके मानी भी जाने और जमात का फर्ज है कि हर चीज को मानी के साथ समझे। तो इंशाल्लाह इमाम says एंड हमेशा मजलिस करो और पीर सदरुद्दीन ने जो फरमाया है उसके मुताबिक चलना, इंशाल्लाह बरकत होगी। पीर पूछीने चालवानो, because Ginan is not just the sound and the voice and the rhythm, but Ginan is the ilm, guidance, how to follow the tariqah. So if we understand the Ginan, then we will be able to walk the way our Peer intended us to walk. क्योंकि हमारे पीरों ने हमें एक गाइडलाइन दी है। जब हम गिनान का मतलब समझेंगे तो मौला फरमाते हैं कि इंशाल्लाह फायदा होगा। अगर हम उसका मतलब ही नहीं समझेंगे तो क्या फायदा होगा उस गिनान का। इंशाल्लाह बरकत होगी। गिनान पर अमल करोगे तो यहाँ अच्छा है और आखिरत में भी अच्छा होगा। You see the conclusion? If you understand the Ginan and if you follow on the Ginan, then you will be, it would be beneficial here and it would be beneficial hereafter. दोनों तरफ अच्छा होगा। जिनके पास दुनिया में पैसा है वो यहाँ खुश नहीं है, जिनके पास कम पैसा है वो मजहब पर है, वो यहाँ खुश है। ये दुनिया फानी है, ये आज है कल नहीं। I know it sounds like if you are rich you are not happy, correct? And if you're not rich you are happy. यहाँ पर ये बात हो रही है कि अगर आप पैसे वाले हैं और सिर्फ पैसा 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 ही कर रहे हैं तो आपकी जिंदगी क्या होगी, आप सोचे खाली। You are running after money day and night. The true happiness is not in the money. Where do you find the true happiness? In the religion, in the imam. There is a place to find true religion, true happiness. तो पैसे वाला होना बुरी बात नहीं है। पैसे की लालच और पैसे के पीछे भागना बुरी बात है। आपको याद होगा एक फरमान, यहाँ एक फरमान के दरमियान में नाचीज ने आपको हसन अली शाह माँ बाप और अली शाह माँ बाप का एक किस्सा सुनाया था। एक मर्तबा मौला दीदार के लिए बैठे थे, जमात हाजिर थे, आसमान पर 3 परिंदे उड़ते हुए जा रहे हैं। I will translate this in English in a minute. मौला फरमाते हैं कि देखो ये 3 परिंदों को देखो। पहला जो परिंदा है वो मोमिन है, दूसरा परिंदा जो है वो दुनिया है और तीसरा परिंदा जो है वो दुनियादार है। तुम मोमिन बनना तो दुनिया तुम्हारे पीछे भागेगी, अगर तुमने दुनिया को अपने दिल में बसाया और दुनियादार बने तो तुम दुनिया के पीछे भागोगे। मोमिन बनना ताकि दुनिया तुम्हारे पीछे हो, तुम दुनिया के पीछे ना भाग रहे हो। This example I was giving was Imam Hassan Ali Shah and Imam Ali Shah Mabab. During the Didar, Hassan Ali Shah Mabab points to the sky where you would see the 3 birds flying. Imam said, look at these 3 birds. The first one is the Mu'min. Second one is the dunya, and the third one is dunyadar. Those who run after the money and after the world. Imam said, do not become dunyadar. Do not run behind the dunya. Become the mu'min. And look at the mu'min. Dunya is running after the mu'min. Mu'min does not run after the dunya. Same line of Farman here, that being a rich is not an issue, but running and having the greed, more, never happy, never satisfied with what we have. That is what Mola Baba is saying. कि पैसे वाले लोग खुश नहीं होते हैं. क्यों? कि वो पैसे के पीछे भागते रहते हैं. और चाहिए, और चाहिए, और चाहिए. और भागते रहते हैं पैसे के पीछे. And they are never happy because of that. So Mola Baba says, थोड़ा कम पैसा भी होगा ना तो खुश रहोगे. पैसे के पीछे नहीं भागो. पैसे वाला होना बुरा नहीं है, पैसे के पीछे भागना बुरा है. यानी कि पैसे और दुनिया की लालच बुरी है, पैसे वाला होना बुरा नहीं है, क्योंकि वो आपकी खुशी आपसे छीन लेती है. क्योंकि आप हमें कभी भी सेटिस्फाई नहीं होते हैं, क्योंकि जितना भी पैसा होगा आप खुश नहीं होगे, आपको उसके पीछे और भागना है. You want more. Mullah says in the next line, आप कितना जीने वाले हो? I mean, just imagine someone has $1 million. I'm just giving example. किसी के पास 1 करोड़ रुपया है. वो हर महीने कितना खर्च करेगा कि वो करोड़ रुपया खर्च करेगा, फिर मर जाना है. अब आप करोड़पति मरे, if you die millionaire or you die poor, are you taking anything with you? Is anything going to come with you? So if you die millionaire or you die poor, you're going to die empty-handed. Having money is not a bad thing. Running after the dunya, running after the money, the greed of the money, which Imam is drawing our attention to. तो ये बात यहाँ पर वाज़े हो गई. मौला के फरमाते हैं, और 100 बरस से ज्यादा तो नहीं जीना है, इसलिए फरमान के मुताबिक चलो. So this is the end of this Farman. Inshallah, we will continue with Farman number 25, which is on the same line. So if those friends who like to read Farman, I would say go ahead and read Farman number 24 and 25 again together, because it is a continual Farman which Imam started it and continued the next morning after this Farman. Look like this was Farman was in the evening Didar, and the next Farman continued in the morning Didar. And the next Farman is almost on the same line. And I was saying something last week that I believe this Farman, this number 24 and 25, and if you would make a list of the things to do and not do out of this Farman, you always be on Sirat al-Mustaqim. You always be a righteous. Because यहाँ पर इमाम ने हमको बताया है कि क्या करना है और क्या नहीं करना है इन 2 फरामीन के अंदर. हमारी आदतों को बदलने के लिए, हमारे तौर तरीके को बदलने के लिए, to change our habit and to form our belief and our thoughts and clean our heart. If you make a list of do and do not do, this will be the 2 Farman, 24 and 25. So let me stop here. So we have time for comments or questions.
याली मदद
यानी मदद?
अच्छा आपने अभी बताया कि किसी का बुरा बोलने का नहीं, लेकिन कोई अपन को आके पूछे कि भाई आने मारी छोकरी आपी से आपको करे अपन जानते हो कि लायक नहीं है, कोई बिजनेस के लिए अपन को पूछने के आए कि इसके साथ पार्टनरशिप करूं कि नहीं, तो अपन जानते हैं कि आदमी बुरा है तो उसके लिए वो तुम्हारे लायक नहीं है, तो उसके बारे में अपन को बोलना चाहिए कि नहीं बोलना चाहिए?
Very good question. Very good question, but not a new question. This question has been answered before, but this question is so beautiful. Thank you for asking, and thank you for drawing our attention to this kind of conversations. So he gives two examples. One, you know, we always get a call, right? Can you find out if so and so is good family? Is it a good person? Right? So there are two ways you can talk. There are two ways you can talk. And that is, my experience is you would say to a family who's asking you to check their other family, right? The bride and the groom की family जो एक दूसरे की inquiry करती है. You can always use such a language without backbiting. And this is how I would do it. I have done it in the past. I always use this line of talk. So when someone calls me about a family, and people do, right? When you know a lot of family, I would say, I know this family, the parents, and I will tell them that this family is an established family, this family is not established family, this family, I see them always righteous, and this is the family I can trust. You know, about the son or the daughter, I would say find out how educated they are, find out how established they are, because you can give your daughter or you can marry your son in the best of the family, does not guarantee you that they will be happy. Am I correct? You can give your daughter to the best of the family, you can marry your son in the best of the family, does not guarantee they will be happy. What will make them happy? If they understand each other. So how do I advise them? So first I'll tell them, I know this family, they are established, they are educated, and look like they are good people, right? Now, your question was, how, if you already know they are not a good family, on what basis do you think they are not good family? Why do you have that thought in your heart that that is not a good family? Because are they gambling? Are they cheating? Or are you saying because you never see them in Jamaat Khana? What are the basis of you saying they are not a good family? So let's say that you know this family is a family of liars, cheaters, gamblers, or whatever. Then you can say, and this is a word I normally would use, they are very good family, I think, but I would not give my daughter. And that's it. Do not backbite. Do not elaborate. Do not get yourself involved in gossiping. Because as soon you get yourself involved in gossiping, you are against the Imam's Farman now. Correct? So that was your first question about marrying and inquiring about the family. Your second question was that someone is asking that I'm going in partnership with so and so. That is more common these days, where we see Jamaat getting together and doing partnership. Mullah has already given us Farman on that, how to do that. So let's talk about the Farman first. That जब आप किसी के साथ पार्टनरशिप करें, आप उसकी क्रेडिट को चेक करें, आप उसके बैकग्राउंड को चेक करें, और ऑलवेज हैव एग्जिट की स्ट्रेटजी जो है वो पहले से तैयार करके राइटिंग में लिख लें कि अगर ये होगा तो हम एग्जिट आउट कर जाएंगे. You should have a plan to exit out, and then Mullah says gracefully. Have a exit out gracefully. So Mullah has given us Farman. So now let's talk about the inquiry. So let's say someone is asking you, ABC, I'm going to business with them. Do you know him? Let's say you know him, he's well established, well educated, he knows his business, and you have done business with him before. So if you have not done business with him before, you would say what? I know him to be a righteous person, but I will advise you to check his credit, check his education, and check his background of the business he is involved in. And that's how you will know. Let's say you think this person is not a good person to be going into business with. Again, same line of words. What would you say? I would not do business with him. I think he's a really good person, but I would not do business with him. But I will leave that to you to check his credit, check his background, check his knowledge of the business, and leave it. Do not get involved in backbiting and gossiping. See, it's not that hard. How you use your words. You can simply say, I would not give my daughter to him, or I would not do business with him. Then leave it to the other guy. Only one thing I wanted to add about that. And this is a live example. It's not a made up example, but a live example. Someone came and asked me one time, both my friend, this friend and this friend. In the past, this friend got unlucky for whatever reason. He was not able to do good business. Each time he would start something, he will lose it. Either he did not have a good knowledge of the business, or he did not have patience for the business he was doing. But he constantly losing business, constantly, it never, he was not established person. So when this friend asked me, say, how about if I make him a partner? How do you think I would have advised this friend about this friend? Remember, they're both my friend. This is how I advised, and it's a live scenario. I say, I see this man very honest, not very knowledgeable. I'm not saying he's very knowledgeable, but he's really honest. He's hardworking. He just does not understand the business. Because you understand the business, and if you make the partnership with him, I think you both can benefit from each other. He's a hardworking, honest. You have the knowledge and the wisdom. I think this will be a good thing if you do partnership with him. But write down what is the time period. We will try it for 2 years. We will try for 2 months. We will try for 1 year. Write it down. And if it doesn't work out, how will you exit gracefully according to Imam Farman? And you know what happened? Because this is a life scenario, right? They both are happy. They both made money because this person, he just did not know how to do business. But when this person came together with him, they were both able to do well, because he had a strength and he has a strength. Combinedly, they had a good strength to do good business. So I could have said simply, right? Oh, no, he's a loser. Right? I could have said that. He's a loser, don't do business with him. No. There is always a goodness. Find that goodness in them and advise wisely without backbiting, without getting involved in gossiping. That is the key. I hope I have explained this as per your question.
थैंक यू। और दूसरी बात ये भी है कि
G. Do we have any other questions?
Sir, we have the questions in the chat. So friends asking, in our present situation, our Jamaat is multicultural with so many different languages, and it is very hard to understand the Ginans, especially for young ones. How do we resolve this?
All right. So first I'm going to say, because this person was asking good question, was a good question about multicultural. But then at the end saying, especially for a young one, what about for us? Even for us it's hard to understand. So what do you do first? You learn yourself. And then you help your children learn. They don't have to learn the language of the Gnan. They have to learn the meaning. They have to learn the essence of the Gnan. Correct? So let's take Quran. We don't have to learn Arabic to read Quran. Let's take our dua. We are not Arabic speaking people. Well, most of us are not. We are either Gujarati, Kutchi, Sindhi, Punjabi. Most of us are not Arabic speaking. Maybe there is only one or two on this line who could read Arabic. But what do? We don't read Quran? Yes, we do. Because it is not about the language, it is about understanding the meaning of it. So first you learn, and then you make your young one understand. And remember, those who recite the Ginan has the higher responsibility to, when they sing, when they recite the Ginan, they should learn the meaning of it themselves so they can help the Jamaat learn the meaning of the Ginan. And hopefully, then when we learn, we can help our children or our non-Khoja spouses. For example, if someone has married a white lady, a black lady, or from some other culture, who does not understand our language or our culture. If you learn, then you can help them too. Your spouses, your in-laws, or your daughters-in-laws, if your son had married someone outside the language, outside our culture. G. Thank you. Was a good question.
So another question, sir. Friends asking, Allah gave us a spouse to share with them everything. My question is, if someone in the Jamaat did something to me which was hurtful, and if I shared with my spouse as a way to release this hurt, does it mean I went against the Farman?
Yes. Yes. All right. So let's say why I'm saying with so much confidence, yes. Always share. Sharing does not mean, you share everything. Sharing mean is that you have a good life, an open and honest life with your spouse. Open and honest life with your spouse. That's what sharing means. When you are backbiting about someone else who have done something to you, so How many times have you seen Imam talk about people who have tried to harm them? Don't we see there are so many people in the world outside the Jamaat and within the Jamaat who are hurting the Imam? How many times Imam comes to you? Remember, you are his spiritual child. He's your father. How many times have you seen him talking anything bad about anyone? Have you ever seen? No, right? And who are we? We are the follower of the Imam. What do? We follow the Imam. Share good things. If you see something bad, or if someone has hurt you. Now, I have said this before. If someone is physically hurting you, then it is obligation on you to tell somebody else. Because that is a safety issue now. But just for the sake of hearing that so and so is no good, he has harmed me this and this and this way. And let's take a good example. Let's say you have a partner or someone you have some kind of business or some kind of relationship, money wise or trust wise, and someone has not returned that trust back to you, meaning they have taken your money or something like that, then if you are open with your spouse, you're supposed to share, not for a backbiting reason. You will tell her or she will tell you that I had lent money to so-and-so or my partner. I think he's cheating in the business. So let's have a discussion. How can we control that situation? See, here you are sharing for the purpose of resolving the issue, not to backbiting. That was not the purpose of that. To resolve the issue, you are sharing with husband and wife. G.
Ya Ali Madad, Miss Naisab.
Yali Madad.
I have two questions. One, I learned a very good thing from you today because I was confused because I went to holiday with one of the group and people is asking me, how did you enjoy it? And I know I didn't enjoy at all, but now I know how to answer that. Yeah, it's very nice people. I enjoy the holiday, but I won't go back again with them. That's the answer I should give, right? Because I was
Yes.
there. And that's a very good thing I learned. I'm so happy. Now, other thing, you're saying about the meaning of the Ginan. So, dua we get with the meaning, but there is no Ginan with the meanings. How do we learn meaning of the Ginan?
I don't think that is 100% right. I think there is always translation available. You just have to look for it. You will find it. Okay, so there are two things. There's one is a translation and one is the meaning. Same thing for the dua. The translation is available. Meaning is not available. You have to find it. You have to learn, right? So there is two different things, translation and the meaning. I was not talking about the translation, I was talking about the meaning. So if you remember, we had done few sessions on Ginan on this groups. We have done the meaning of the Ginan. And there are sessions where they teach the meaning of the Ginan, not the translation of the Ginan. Because translation of the Ginan are easy to find. You'll find the translation. In the books, online, you will find the translation. But you also have to learn the meaning of the Ginan. Let me give you an example of that, okay? Chare chare jugama fari fari joyu tere tole koi na ave. Meaning,
Yeah.
I went and looked around in 4 different places and I was not able to find Yamola. But that's the translation. No, that's not the meaning. So what is the meaning of this Ginan?
Yeah, that's right. There was a meaning of that.
Right.
No, but
So the meaning
yeah.
of the Gnan is important, not the translation.
Okay. But where do you find this? Where do you find the translation first? I can't find any Gnan in the translation.
Ismaili heritage.org and ismaililiterature.org has very good Gnans and very good translations of these Gnans.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Hansen. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed today. Thank you.
Ji Kamle sahab.
So we have another question. How can we have the consciousness of constantly remembering that we all are from single soul of Mola when we interact with all people on a daily basis? When I interact with animals, when I interact with plants, how to stay constantly humble with this self-awareness and consciousness?
Okay. It's a beautiful question, but are we talking about the animal and plants or are we talking about the humans? The important thing is that how do we become so conscious about our fellow, number one, friends, family, Jamaat, and then others. Remember, the charity begins at home. First, the practice starts with treat your friends, your family, your Jamaat as they are yourself. Don't be self-centered. Always think of them as yourself. What is good for you is good for them. What is bad for you is bad for them. And that is a practice, a mindfulness, constant consciousness that you have to learn and develop. Is a skill that you learn and develop. So first you learn and then you develop on it. And if you yourself is not a self-centered person, it comes really easy and natural then. But for those who are self-centered or the selfish, maru, 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 I, me, then it's really become hard because you always thinking about yourself, you are never thinking about others. You know what it says, right? It's always better to give than take. It's always better to give than take. When you do that, it will become easy. So what do you mean by giving and taking? You know, in Jamaatana we say, always we give room to other instead of taking it. We always helping other than taking it. Always give. We rather give than take. So when this habit becomes a conscious habit, then you will always, when you will look at the people, you will always look at their good side because you yourself is good. You know, my mother would say in Gujarati, Apre Sara to Badai Sara. Have you heard of this? Apre Sara to Badai Sara. Because you are reflecting on them. Your goodness is reflecting on them. That's how you become conscious. First, here, and then there. Meaning, become a good person so your goodness will reflect on them. G. Any other question?
So I don't see any question. Only thing is, I think the friends wants to know the meaning, how to understand the meaning of Quran, Gnan as translations. Always you can find how to get the essence.
Right. So that is what Mola Bapa has said in 2000 October Khardar Karachi Farman. Find those classes where ilm is given. I mean, look at how clear this Farman is. Find those classes where ilm is given. That's how you find, because translation is just a translation, but that is the beginning of learning, the effort to find the translation and read, right? But in the translation, there are mistakes. There are misunderstanding. But then what do? You take the second step. Find those classes where ilm is given. This is exactly what you are doing here today. You don't need me to read this Farman to you, because you can read Urdu, you can read Gujarati, you can read English, right? Why are we gathered here today? To learn the meaning of it, right? Find those classes where ilm is given. That's how you find the meaning of the Quran, the meaning of the dua, meaning of the Ginan. For those of you who are interested in dua meaning, give your information to Kamaria Sahib. We have multiple recordings of dua meaning. Those of you who wanted to learn the meaning of the Ginan, we have multiple recordings of Ginan meaning. And those of you who wanted to learn the meaning of the Farman, we have multiple hundreds of recordings of Farman understanding. So first step has to come from you by saying, I wanted to learn. And if you can give like 30 minutes of your time every day to learn, get with Kamaria Sahib. He has hundreds of recordings he can share with you. G.
Yeah, can we tell Niyamit Saiba? I'm concerned with Niyamit Saiba. She will know, right? If I tell her.
Who?
My phone number to Niyamit Saiba.
Oh,
Niyamit
Niyamat
Saiba.
Saiba. Niyamat
Yeah.
Saiba. Yes, yes.
I always
Yeah,
listen to every time.
yeah,
So I
you
can
can.
ask.
Yeah, you can ask her. Or right now, Kamaria
Mhm.
Sahib is online. You can give to him, and he will share instantly.
Okay, so I give you my phone number 416-858-0449. I want Ginan's meaning.
Yeah, I got you.
416-858-0449.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have those, but I need Ginan's.
Okay. He will share on your WhatsApp. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. जी. और कोई सवाल?
No, sir, I don't see any
जो
question.
our friends जो इंग्लिश नहीं बोलते हैं, अगर मैंने कोई चीज इंग्लिश में एक्सप्लेन की है और आपको दोबारा से उर्दू में एक्सप्लेनेशन की जरूरत है, प्लीज स्पीक अप. And same goes for English speaking. If I have said something in Urdu and if you don't understand, please do tell and I will translate that in English. G. If nothing else, we can stop here. Thank you, everybody. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad. We'll see you all tomorrow morning.
Madad,
Ya Ali Madad.
Yali Madad. Bless you, sir.
Yeah, Yali
Thank
Madad.
you. Thank you. Ya Ali Madad.
You and Yali Madad. Nice session. We'll see you soon again.
Inshallah, tomorrow morning. Ya Ali Madad.
Yali Madad, sir. Bye.
Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Allah bless you. Bye.
Ameen. 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 Shukr alillah. Thank you.
Yali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Thank you and Yali Madad, and God bless you.
Ameen. Ameen. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Thank you and Yali
Yali
Madad.
Madad, God bless
Ya Ali
you.
Madad. Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Everyone.
Maula Ali Madad.
Down. I need to go in. I am masculine.